Listeners, this is Ef'n and I'm here at Restlawn Cemetery here in Edinburg, right off of Expressway 281. And we are here at Restlawn Cemetery that was founded in 1928 to be the only dedicated burial site here in Hidalgo County for African Americans. So we're here, founded in 1928. It serves as a historical marker to let everyone know that Edinburg once had a thriving African American population. And unfortunately, when these people died, they weren't allowed to be buried in the regular cemeteries. So this undeveloped land was the only place where they could be buried.
Well, the first thing you see when you automatically get to the African American cemetery is that there is an obvious segregation line between the African American cemetery and the rest of the general population for the cemetery. And as you walk through the cemetery, it surprises you that a lot of these graves are unmarked. And looking around, you can tell that the cemetery has been improved dramatically.
So it looks like we have a Miss Mary Thomas here, born a slave and died free, as well as a Reverend Marcus A. Perry, born 1853, born a slave, but died free in 1957.
And just looking at the number of graves that are in this cemetery, there is no doubt that the city of Edinburg had a thriving African American population. And as you walk the cemetery, you can't stop to think, how was it that the valley, being minorities, somehow segregated these African Americans?
It looks like here in the middle of the cemetery, they have a memorial of the names of all the people buried here. It seems like it's a wooden plaque with certain names, with people that were born in the mid-1800s all the way up to dying to the 1940s. So there's a mix of people that were born in the mid-1800s buried here. Interesting.
And on the back wall of the cemetery, you'll find numerous plaques that make reference to Juneteenth and plaques that highlight important African Americans buried here. I think what the cemetery does is it highlights one of the truths no one really wants to talk about here in the Rio Grande Valley, that segregation was practiced against African Americans, and no doubt it was wrong. And if it wasn't for the families of these individuals, the current African American community, this cemetery would have probably been lost to time in shrubbery and just decay. But thank goodness they've taken it on and have assumed the maintenance of the cemetery and highlighting this key piece of Rio Grande Valley history.